Hello guys, my name is Nato Safix, and today we have yet another session here at the Gosu Academy. If you like watching these kind of sessions, there is a link to try out the Gosu Academy for 1 month for, well, it isn't for free because you gotta, put in your card details and all that jazz, but it is non-binding, so if you choose to not want to stay, you will be refunded your money and you can go on with your life without the Academy. For the people who are here, though, they have the advantage of requesting topics and also asking questions both after the session and sort of live. So, yeah, just some of the benefits of being in the Gosu Academy. There are 3 different coaches, as far as I'm aware, for Gosu Academy. And it's not just me. I do weekly sessions, but there are other coaches also doing sessions. So, yeah, I think it's definitely worth the money. Quite small amount actually for what you get, and therefore I urge you to sign up. Today we'll be doing something that probably should have been done a little earlier. We have gone through quite a few CT, we have gone through quite a few maps in terms of the CT side. I believe we've done, Mirage, we've done Nuke, we've done Overpass, Vertigo we've done as well. So I think actually maybe we haven't done Mirage, but we've done Anubis. So we have at least done 4 maps. Ancient is one of the ones we haven't done yet. And there are a few things about Ancient which I think are what I would call, I guess, a noob trap in a way. Something that people do which it makes kind of sense, but if you don't know how to apply it correctly, you will be doing it consistently wrong. And I have a great example from my own stream that I will bring up later on. Exactly an example of this type of thing. So I want to just start on the left side of the map, basically, over towards the B bomb side, and we'll be talking about what is the job of a B player, what are you able to do, how do you sort of switch it up, and any other things that I think is relevant. So first thing that I have always said in my videos called the Face It cheat codes, which are like the videos that kind of prepare you to block the easiest stuff that your opponents will do. Like, say on a map like Overpass, right, which just got removed. One of the things I've always said is if you understand how to block monster efficiently, the T side doesn't really have an easy sort of plan to fall back on, because typically in Counter-Strike people will do what is the easiest. If you don't block the easiest things, they will abuse it against you. An example would be if you don't block B and Inferno at all, teams will go B on Inferno 12 rounds in a row. The same in Face It, same in Premier. So on Ancient, something that used to be really important and is a little bit less so, at least in higher elo, is understanding how to properly block a B rush, just for the sake of, me knowing that it used to be a big issue and probably still is in a lot of elos. I will tell you how to effectively block. Now, I think there are kind of 2 ways of throwing this Molotov in a good way. One of them is going over here and bouncing it pretty far right on this while running. This one lands so that, let me just do this. I'll try to throw it once more. This one lands so that it blocks in the middle of Banana, but it also takes the copy. So no one can get into this corner kind of without being spotted, let's say. It doesn't land all the way at the top of the ramp, but it means that if the Ts want to smoke it off, they smoke off this area, and it is an area where it is quite hard for the Ts to go up from. Another way of throwing it, I don't know exactly the lineup that people use, but I've seen plenty of people do something like this, basically. And I don't know how to do it, really, as you can tell. I guess like this. I think it is just kind of feeling, but you can do it in a way where it lands, I guess, a little bit further up on the ramp, and the advantage here is that it is, I guess, consistent if you practice the lineup, which I haven't. I've just seen people do it. But what I do if I have to play B on Ancient is I just go and I do this Molotov. Another advantage of doing this Molotov is that a lot of B players lately are playing B from long. And there's a very good reason for this. By doing the Molotov like this, you are able to cross over to long fast instead of having to go forward short, Molotov, and then go back to long, basically. The reason a lot of B players right now on Ancient are playing towards long is because this is partly a good place where you can do some info jumps. It's possible for you to play, information in a pretty safe manner towards the ramp area. I know there are some players, I don't know the lineup again because I'm not a B player, but who have some kind of crazy lineup, maybe not exactly like this, but where they essentially smoke banana. This actually would work, which was just on feeling, but they smoke it from a position where the smoke takes a long time to travel, whatever, and as the smoke is dropping down, they will jump spot, check if people are up, and if they are not up, then the smoke will block the area, and now they can chill. Some people do it as well, that they do the smoke, and then after they will do the flash, they will use the flash to check, and then the smoke will pop, and they are blocking, stuff like this. One of the biggest reasons why a lot of B players play long is because this wall is obviously very spammable, and also as a T, a lot of the time, if the B player is playing around side, like either copy or side or this off angle or short, the Ts only have to look in one area. So if you kill the B player and you know it's the B player, you know the other guy is cave. What's really strong for the B player is playing long side, because then if you tuck in, this will always be an automatic crossfire between the long player and the cave player. So for any Ts going up without util, this is a really hard crossfire to break. The only way can really be if you flash them off, or if you, have a cave smoke or a deep molo, which is very unlikely to have if you're rushing up. The disadvantages can be that sometimes you will be ending up behind the smokes, say if the Ts actually do a regular B-exec. As a long player, it might be harder to go out from here, whereas if you're playing from short or playing from side or from cubby, you will always be playing in front of the util no matter what, and it will be possible for you to fight for your cave player to not be left alone. I think that's part of the reason why people have also started playing long even more, is that, with HEs now you can break it. I know a lot of people do it, that the info jump, and then they will just block like this if the smokes come on in. Yeah, it's basically what it is. Another thing that is worth knowing as a B player is jiggling with a molo or smoke close can be really strong. You can jiggle here, and as soon as you get contact, or if the smokes start raining in, you just drop your molo, fall back, and now you have blocked the T side at the most sort of important time in the round, which is when they get contact, right, or when they just did the smokes. This comes with some risk though, because, well, it's not even so much so that it comes with the risk, but it comes with the risk of using your utility too early. If you are jiggling here, there will almost always be someone peeking at some point and who will force out your util, and now they know you don't have util. That's why ending up here is something you probably would rather do in the mid round instead of the early round, since if you have your nades still in the mid round and you can jiggle here, when the Ts take contact, it's probably because they've made the decision to go B. Other than this, I don't think there is that much. This flash is one I love to throw. So if I, let's say, info jump, I can bounce a flash like this. And for the T side, it will look like this. Pay attention. There's not so much to see, and all of a sudden the flash comes into your view. I'm sure you can even find like a more perfect lineup so that it actually lands, behind this wall, if you want to. That way you won't have to dodge it whatsoever. But I think even something like this is good. You jiggle, and now you peek. Let me see. Is there anything else I think that's kind of relevant to know? I guess just for the B player, I think this utility set can be quite nice sometimes. If you are playing side, you can just aim basically here on the plant and take a running step. This one goes over and will land quite fast in the door. And then it's easy for you to just, flash top left. From here as well, if you want to be really cool, you can do smoke, flash, you can even do Molotov. That way, your teammates can now push out cave, for example, and get a lot of space, in this case. Another way to do this is, if you're a B player, maybe you want to fake it, or maybe you want to throw it for a teammate, you can, I believe it's at the top here, you want to hit this corner of the door. You have a smoke that lands extremely fast, and you can follow it up with this flash. Instead of aiming at the top, you just aim here. This flash lands on the box and like bounces, so if you are getting smoked door, you'll probably instinctively check, and now the flash comes, and now you get destroyed. So combo looks something like this. And now just instantly you can push down a banana. Which is, by the way, very effective. Pushing banana is something every team basically does. And it's super strong. Very hard to hold. To give you some ideas to how you can hold it, there's obviously the headshot angle all the way back here, which can be a little bit of an issue if there comes a door smoke. It's hard to help your team. You can also sit here. But this can sometimes be actually a little bit problematic, because if the CTs are really smart, they can have someone standing here. One can jump on top here, and then they can see your leg as you're sitting here, without you being able to see them at all. There's also one more angle, and that is like this. It doesn't look like an angle, and it's really only held by AWP players, but it is tight enough that even if you want to go here and crouch down, you will always be spotted. And if you hold this with an AWP, then you will get the kill. Like, you can see the shoulder and you can actually get this kill. So if you're playing like passively, that is one way to do that. I guess for the B player, that's kind of what you want to know. I can't really see anything else. I guess just know that this flash is actually possible. You can flash over mid from B by flashing like this. And so if you see your teammate in a situation where they need help, they're stuck in red room or something like this, it is actually possible to have a flash that flashes over mid, which should blind the T's. This was more of a blink, but I think you can potentially throw it a little better. Or even from here, maybe you can run it further. Let me just check it one time. Like, say someone is pushing your teammate or whatever. It's probably not the perfect flash, but it might blind them long enough that the teammate can peek and get a kill. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much what there is to say about the B player. Is there any questions about this? Okay, moving on then. Actually, one more thing I have to say about the B player is something that's become very... I wouldn't even say it's super meta, but some teams are doing it. Some people in Faceit are doing it at the high elos. And it's kind of annoying to play against, so I'll just tell you some kind of counters to it. Some people are starting to use this lurk smoke on B, which is really annoying because it makes it really difficult to do these kind of jump peaks. I think maybe the smoke normally lands a little bit more to the left, so it's basically impossible to do these jump peaks. Then what teams will do is they will Molotov pillar, so you can't update information on this side either. And then as the pillar Molotov is fading, imagine there's a smoke here, they know that for you to get any information, you will have to walk through this lane. And that's exactly that timing when they start spamming this area so much, so that if you try to play here, you now basically just die. This is a really effective way to create pressure on B, but there are ways to block it. And I've had a ton of teammates who don't understand how to block this. Probably there are even things that I won't be telling you now, but the way I see it, if you get, like, if this gets smoked and you haven't used your smoke on B, it's almost always valuable for you to just throw a smoke that lands somewhere in an opening. Now they might be Molotoving pillar and they might be spamming it, but as long as you are in a space where you can hold this smoke, you are nullifying the presence of their whole smoke and their Molotov and their spam, right? So you're kind of blocking the entire pressure. That's one way to deal with it. Another way to deal with it is just on a timing, throwing like double-click nade that bounces, or like not bounces, but that explodes at the top of the smoke and peeking with it to check for info. And at this moment, if there is no one, then you could also potentially still use your smoke, or you could, whatever, wait out the smoke. It's also possible if you play against people who play this with this smoke all the time, that you do something along the lines of not molotoving at the start of the round. Now they do the smoke, then the molotov comes, and then as their molotov comes, you maybe molotov this, you blow it up with nade. Now you can check, did anyone push through? Okay, no one pushed through. And now you know that they are blocked at least for the duration of the molotov. So with this, I say get creative, but these are just some of the most normal things I would do against this kind of utility set. One more thing you can do is also have your AWP player rotate over early and basically hold a flash for you, so that when the molotov comes and the spam, you get a check flash, you check, they're not here, now you know this is blocked for a while, and then you could even go to the jiggling just so that you hold on to utility for a little while longer. But yeah, this is very important to know, because if you end up in a situation, I've seen even, you know, people around 3k elo just completely have no understanding of how to play against it. So yeah. Moving over to the cave player. I think the cave player is probably not something I can talk about for too long, because it is definitely a kind of complex position, but it's a lot about reading, I guess, getting good at sort of just playing default rounds. One thing I will say about cave, which is an absolute must, is I think this HE is an absolute must to do every single round. It might seem insignificant. I've talked about this before, I think, even on the Gosu Academy. But this HE, if you have a good spawn, might not do that much damage. But if you have a good spawn, it means if the Ts also have a good spawn, they will take this HE, they will get slowed, and now you will potentially get here first, right? It's the same, it's actually even more so the case that if you have a bad spawn and you throw this nade, now this nade will absolutely slow down one or two, and it will damage them a lot. And it is, again, a sort of must, that slowdown, to try and get the timing to actually go here. Because if you don't do this HE, what typically happens is the Ts will just start running this path all the time. They will come over here, they will do this molotov, and now it's hard for you to gain cave control. That's why this HE, while it might seem insignificant, it is super significant, because most of the time, if you hit it kind of on someone who is playing fast, it deals like 30 to 40 damage, they get slowed, maybe they are less willing to fight for this control. And then what I like to do as a cave player, you know, after throwing this HE, I will go in here, and then I will try to always kind of have this running path, like W and A, and throw my molotov so that it bounces to the left. That way, if the Ts are still wanting to go through, they have to decide if they want to full commit or if they want to stay behind. A lot of the time they will full commit, but with this molotov, if you throw it like this, typically you can throw the molo and get your gun out and hold here and get the kill. And then if they don't run in, you know they are behind your molotov. This molotov allows you to smoke left side, and now you are in a really good position as a cave player, in my opinion, because this allows you to now pretty freely spam the angles towards B, try to do a lot of damage through here, and it also allows you to help with blocking mid for your CT teammates. If mid is smoked, no one can walk out here without you killing them, basically. Yeah, that's a big thing with cave. I think cave, as I said, it is kind of a hard position to give a lot of tips on. What I will say is it's important, and this will be the same case with mid, it is important understanding what you gain and lose by playing aggressive and passive. So say I am all the time doing this HE, and I'm all the time coming over here doing this molotov, whatever, blocking this, and then going out and smoking this and spamming the walls. Well, eventually the T's will understand that there is space to be taken on B ramp. If the cave player always plays aggressive, it means the B player is always playing alone. That's why sometimes, as the cave player, even though it kind of might feel weird, it can be advantageous not to fight for this area or not fight for this area out here, because if they decide to do a B pop, for example, this is something that will punish you for playing hyper aggressive. On top of this, I guess a lot of you won't have seen this Molotov yet. I'm not even sure that I can land it. Let me see. Is it like this? Maybe it's like that. It's close, guys. It's close. I think it's this rock. No. Give me a couple more tries. Is it like this? Okay, I am not doing a good job, guys. I think this may be it. Yes. So some teams have started using this Molotov, and people do it way better than me because they've practiced it. They will do it basically like that, and then it immediately goes in. It means as a cave player, you kind of have a decision to be made every single round. Do I want to push in front of this Molo, or do I want to respect this Molo? And this is also one of those things where, you know, if you have a good spawn, you've done your HE, and you can come out here and you can do this Molotov, you can nullify their Molotov by using your own Molotov. But understand that this Molotov makes it so you get locked into this room, basically. And by doing this Molotov to counter their Molotov, it's again the same. If they are smart and they have a B default, they will potentially use the information of your Molotov to go up B ramp because they know the Molotov locks you out of this area. Did someone have a question? It felt like someone...
Yeah, I was going to ask like what your preference was as to throw in the HE over the Molly, but then you kind of explained it as opposed just for having it for later.
Yes.
It makes a lot more sense, so I get you.
Yeah, I think also the issue I have with the Molo sometimes is that a Molotov is so easy to just turn off. Like, if I'm the T and the CTs every time do Molotov no nade, I will just turn it off, and now I know I can take this space for free, right? But what is really annoying is when people nade this, because you either have the choice of running through the nade, taking a lot of damage and getting slowed, or you have to run all the way on the right side and then still take like 10 damage and still be a little bit slowed, and then because you take a longer running path, you are anyway slower, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So this is just, yeah, it's why being cave player can be pretty difficult at times, and there is just a ton of things to note. I feel it's hard to say a whole lot of stuff about playing cave. What I will say is, obviously you can jiggle this. It's very strong. There's the potential for you to bounce this off, like bounce a Molo or smoke off this piece of wood, basically. It's possible if you have a B player playing towards long to get, you know, flashes like this into cave to check if they push. Also, I guess one thing that I've used a little bit in the past is if you know that someone is in like cheetah, you can bounce really hard a flash like this and it will land in the corner and you won't get blind. So you can bounce a flash and go with it. So sometimes you can ask your B player to come close to you and say, let's retake cheetah. You just do this flash and you just run across, and if they are in here, they have to be blind, basically. And they have to decide, do we want to get blind while taking the fight, or do we want to dodge, so basically not taking the fight and then probably die before you get to turn. So it can be a really, really annoying retake to play against, and all it takes is one flash. One more thing which I notice is very prevalent in current Counter-Strike is that since a lot of cave players play here, a lot of people use the pillar Molotov to take the cave control, right? So you can imagine people will do this Molotov so that the person jiggling here has to decide, do I want to go, you know, into cave or out? And there is never a foolproof thing, But just from what I see in good Counter-Strike, almost all cave players who jiggle here right now, they always go this way. And the reason is because if you go this way, that's exactly what the T's will want. You are stuck, in a corner. There's not much you can do. All the T's have to do is basically bounce one flash that lands, here, that you can't dodge, and kind of use this flash to overswing the angle. That's why, it's typically worth it if they do this Molotov to go out here. Because if they want to go ramp, now you're able to fight with your B player. And if they want to go cave, okay, you give them cave control and then you can still get a flash in after, for example. Or you can, jiggle angles if they're not here. Maybe you can even just do this Molotov and then try to fight if you want. Or get the flash after the Molotov. Or it's a much easier space to retake and you don't get trapped, basically. Let me see. Anything else?
I got one question.
Yeah.
So in a situation where you are 2 versus 3 and it's late in the night, like say they have planted, terrorists have planted at this site. Now, long and short are smoked. What do you do? How do you retake as a player? You coming from A, if
through cave here.
No, you're coming from CT.
Okay. Yeah. So do the T's have
long and short are smoked?
Okay, so the T's are playing the side, right?
Yeah, they have just smoked these 2 points. And at that point, do you play out the clock for the smoke, or like what do you do? Because I often get killed in that situation.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of hard. I can show you some util that can be good. Like, let's say the T's haven't planted yet. If you just go on the back wall here and you kind of look at, there's like this weird symbol, right? And there's one next to it. I believe if you aim here, it's a nade that lands right on top of the bomb. And you can do this for Molotov as well. So if it's a case where they haven't planted yet, this is a really strong Molotov to throw to delay the plant, which will give you more time to run down the clock, right? But other than that, if you have a smoke, it is possible to aim here and run. And not do it like that, sorry. Actually, I was questioning myself, is it here? I think it might be here instead, sorry. And then just jump as late as you can. This is a smoke that goes into a cave, which will help you with the retake. Alternatively, and I'm sorry guys, because I have not thrown these lineups for a while. Yes, this kind of works, I guess. It's possible for you to, from this corner, I guess I aimed, where did I even aim? I think here, right? It's possible for you to do a smoke that smokes off ramp completely. And the reason why this smoke is really key is because the bomb almost always gets planted here. And for the T, for him to spam the bomb from ramp, it's a pretty tight angle. Like, if you go too far up, you can't spam it. If you go too far down, you can't spam it. And if you even sit correct, you have to also have the correct angle. Like, you can't aim too far right or to the left. So this is a pretty tight line. And if you smoke ramp and you fake defuse the bomb, it's almost always good to step off the bomb. And as the T is starting his spray, you can go out and shoot this really easily. For the CT, finding that angle is not as difficult as for the T, because there's just more stuff to line up with and you're not in the middle of a smoke. Like, if I see it here, I know I need to be a little further out than this wall, and you can see the tracers from the AK. You can step out and spam this. That's a good smoke to know. I don't know exactly this one anymore, but there is also a way to like double click jump throw a cave smoke. I guess kind of like this, but you want it to be inside cave ideally. So yeah, there definitely is a better lineup. I'm not quite sure how to do it anymore. Ideally, you want it to be up on the second step. Let me try it one more time. I guess maybe just here or something. Let me try one more time, guys. I'm just looking for this line and maybe even just the middle of this green rock. It looks like it. That is actually good. So this will allow you to smoke off cave safely and still have a gap so that you can see if they go to side. So if you have basically an HE or nade, I think typically it's pretty good to use it on default, because players also tend to stay there after planting the bomb. If you have a smoke, you know, there's either the ramp smoke or this one. I think this one might fail actually, maybe. No, it didn't. And there's also this one as you are rotating over. Just try to throw it pretty late and it will go in there. I would say respecting these two smokes, like you said, is typically the best. But as long as you can smoke either cave or ramp, you have a really good chance. So if you have saved your smoke, or if you have a smoke or any utility, it makes things easier. If you don't have any utility at all, I think winning a 2v3 as CT retaking B bomb site is very difficult, basically. I hope that answers your question. Yeah,
it did. Appreciate that.
Perfect.
And so also, basically, you did suggest not to get out, like respect that smoke. Essentially, that was I was looking for that answer. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Wait the timer out. Like if you're rotating from A, like if those two smokes are up, it means they've done an execute and then they've had to take the bomb site, right? And then they've had to plant the bomb and stuff. So when you rotate over from A, when you get to here, there's probably 8 seconds left or something like that. But sometimes you are here on time to actually do some util damage, and that's really important. If you retake from, like if you go heaven instead, I don't know the exact lineup anymore, but there is actually, is it here? There is the possibility of molotoving the copy, like so. I think even there is a better lineup. Let me see. Maybe it's like this. Or this. Oh no guys. Let me find, there's one lineup which is actually super good, but I haven't used it for a while. It might be here instead. Yes, it's this one. So if you aim here, the reason this one is so good is because you can see the nade, it hits basically 2 things and it lands directly down on whoever is playing copy. What I've even seen people do is like this Molotov and have a lineup to spam this line. Because you can actually spam the T who's running away in this lane when they get Molotov. So yeah, just saying that that's possible. Not many people do it, but it is pretty cool. Any questions about cave?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Could you show that CT smoke where you like were running, staring at the white box? Could you show that one more time? Yeah.
So basically, you just see this circle, and you just need to go top right, and then just run until you feel like you can't run anymore. It doesn't have to be super specific,
Awesome, appreciate you. Yeah,
no problem. For mid, what I recommend if you are the mid player, like the mid rifle, is actually, if you're playing in a team, no matter what, if you're in the mid player, learn the instant spawn smokes. I don't know them all. There are a couple that I don't know, but I think also some people, and this I don't know, by the way, it's full whatever, but I know some people have a lineup as well, which is like there is a lineup where you can do it while just standing here, I'm pretty sure. Maybe something like this. Yes, I guess, kind of. I think there's a better lineup. Anyway, I recommend learning the spawn smokes, because if you know the spawn smokes as a mid player, you can do the spawn smoke, you can come here, you can use your Molo and your HE, and by doing this, you actually block all of mid by yourself every round. This is actually something, sorry, I forgot to say about the B player. When people B rush, if you do the Molotov, the worst that can happen is that the T's throw a smoke here and run up, and that's why if you want to effectively block a B rush, or just a rush in general, you can always block a rush no matter what with a Molotov and an HE in the Molotov. Then if they turn off the smoke will blow up, you can kill them, and also they will be slowed a lot, they will be damaged a lot, and everything is much easier. So this goes for basically any map. If you want to do a full block for rushes, Molo and HE is your friend, basically. Same goes for mid. If you think that they are going to be playing fast mid, Molo, nade, and if you get smoked in window, just spam this. because typically people want to go this lane fast towards donut, and now you've done the block. Talking about mid, or kind of being the donut player, I guess. The thing that I had happen in my Faceit game the other day was a guy who I believe was number 13 in ELO in EU was playing mid, and I was playing rotation, so I was helping in mid. Now, something that a lot of people do in Faceit, which I don't agree with all of the time, is that they will every round start like this. So they do the mid smoke, then they will do the Molotov, then they will do a nade and a Molotov, and then they will go over here, they will check, no one went out through my smoke, then they will come up here and they will fight B, right? And for this to be possible, you have to have the rotation player or the A player holding this mid smoke for you, so that no one walks through it or flashes through it or blows up the smoke and kills you or something like this. The reason why I say this is not good always and why I like it sometimes is because it's good to play aggressive here, and these fights are good, and you help fighting for B control. But the same as what I talked about with playing passive on cave or playing aggro on cave is something where you gain and lose things. Just let's look at a setup. So say we have a B player, right? We have a cave player. Now our mid/donut player goes up here and peeks here, right? Now we need to have either our rotation player or our A player holding this. This means that our setup will always be 1 B, 1 cave, 2 mid, and 1 A. This means that A will always be playing solo, and A will always have late rotation, because the person who is holding the smoke down in mid will be late to A, basically. This can be pretty decent if you have, for example, the AWP starting tempo and holding this, whatever. But it is very predictable, and anything that is predictable has a counter. So this player who was number 13 in ELO, another thing that I think he did wrong was, in my opinion, there are two ways of playing mid. There is playing passive mid and playing aggro mid. What he was doing was playing aggro mid, and he was doing this every single round without letting me know. The way I see mid is you do the smoke, you do the molo, you do the nade, you block mid at the start, and after you've won mid controller CT, you know the Ts are not going to walk through your smoke, and so are not going to take mid at the start of the round. That's why, as rotation player, I like helping my mid player gain mid control, but then afterwards we can leave mid control. The other way is obviously, as I said, playing aggro mid, where one of them goes up here or does this I call kangaroo, where you just jump and you go and peek, and then you have to have basically someone holding your down mid. But with this, you are, if you're playing aggro, always leaving your A player alone. Or you have to have your rotation player towards B, and you have to have 2 mid, and then you have 0 people playing A, which, you know, is also pretty abusable. So, yeah, that's what I think is the important thing to know about mid. If you would like to play passive mid, there are a few ways you can do it. One of them is if you gain mid control and you think they will use mid later. This used to be a really strong position, because if there is no smoke here, you can kill people walking into donut. They will typically, you know, be checking this and this, and then as they're coming here, now they are starting to look towards donut, and now you kill them in the side. If there's smoke here, though, you're pretty useless. That's the thing. And if you are, you know, if the T instead wants to go to red room, there is the potential that you will die in this position, but it can be a pretty strong position in some cases. Otherwise, you can obviously play, you know, kind of passive mid by playing donut. For anyone who hasn't watched my video about pressure lines, I highly recommend it. Just to explain in really, really simple terms without sort of explaining anything behind it. Just think of it like this, that if I'm a donut player, I'm holding this line, or if I'm holding this line, there is no way anyone can ever go to red room, basically. So for a T, if you don't do, a flash or a smoke or something like this, the CT can actually have full information that you have not crossed to red room. And yeah, that is just something that's worth knowing, basically. It means you basically are not putting any real pressure on mid before you make sure that you have either peaked these angles or forced the player to lose the info here. The way a lot of people right now is playing this information is they do it like this. They jiggle with a smoke or a Molotov, and they just jiggle on the sort of inside of this corner, so that if someone peeks, they will have to literally peek this angle to find you, and you are jiggling in and out of the angle, so it's really a hard shot. As CT, you can always, jiggle this, you won't die, and when you get contact, you smoke off donut, and now you've blocked them, basically. Yeah, that's was basically good to know. I guess there isn't a whole lot more to say about mid. One thing you can say is, in some cases, it can be worth it to not use a smoke deep inside middle, and in that case, what teams will do is they will use a Molotov right above the corner of this building, like that, and then the second one will go like this. This is like double Molotov, so that the T's can't do any trickery with blowing the nade, blowing the smoke up at the start or doing something like this. But obviously teams have come up with a counter to this, so what teams will do is they will throw a smoke as close to this edge as possible. That way, when you do the deep Molotov, it will either get turned off, or if the smoke is a little bit further back, there is this kind of weird issue with the game right now, where you Molotov, and people can actually sort of edge around the smoke and stand like this, and you can actually get a free entry kill at the start of round. So now you know it, basically. Anything else? I don't think there really is a whole lot that's important to know as a mid player. Yeah, no, I don't think there is. I guess one thing that can be kind of interesting, I think a lot of people don't know this, but it's not that relevant, is if you are tucked in here and holding this, if you have someone baiting for you like this, jiggling in for something like this is mostly for like a force bar round or something, it is 100% impossible for T's to clear the left corner before they are open to this angle. So for T's who want to lurk in red room, they can never clear the left side before they peek this. And that's why, you sometimes will see AWP players holding this angle, because this door makes it really difficult to actually clear things in like a safe manner. You will always have to open yourself up before you can clear this. So that's, I guess, kind of worth knowing. Yeah. A player. About the A player, again, there isn't that much to say, I guess. Ancient is a pretty straightforward map, but I guess one thing that is worth to say is that, this is possible. You can self-boost here. Some people also play this kind of angle, where you see if people walk to the right side, and you can kill them here. Basically, what I think is the best if you are, playing Face It and stuff like this, is, as an A player, almost always blocking early with a smoke. The reason is because most people, if they want to use A, they go and use A in the first 20 seconds, and this smoke makes them maybe just completely leave A main, because they don't want to sit here and wait behind the smoke, basically. Yeah.
Got a question on that.
Yeah.
So if you are in temple, like if you go back into the temple as a CT,
Yeah.
Is it okay to prefer no smokes? Because what happens is you get to see the shadow of the person rushing first before the person appears. So you actually have an advantage of shooting the other guys very clear, go ahead a bit more, and then the shadow appears first before the person appears. So So it's very easy to get quite a good headshots of a couple of people at like easily, very quickly if you do not smoke it. So is that, does that work at the higher levels or any level?
It kind of does, but also kind of doesn't, because first of all, if they come from the left, you won't have that advantage with the shadow, right? Like, I have no shadow here being shown. So I could peek this without you seeing my shadow. So if I go from the left side, you won't see my shadow whatsoever, right?
Got you.
And then also, the way that the pro players do it is that no one goes like this, basically. Everyone goes, crouches under it on the right side, so you can see my shadow, then goes close to the wall, and then as they're going, they will run out like this. So you don't really get that, like, you can't see their shadow before. They won't walk like this, because they are aware of the shadow, right? So really good players, they will crouch under it, go close to the wall, and then go out. And then you don't really get that advantage of the shadow. Yeah?
Understood. Yes, sir.
Perfect. I'm really happy you asked questions. It's good. It's good. Good questions as well. So what angle I like to play, I don't play that much A, but just when I do, is this one. It's a kind of off angle where as the T's come out, typically you want to, maybe you go close and clear this, and then you will jiggle this, whatever, and then maybe you will go out like this, right? And if they do this, then in my angle, I will see them here and kill them. But if they go on the other side and peek, things like that, and peek it like this, and go out, it's when they're looking towards side and getting to here that I am now sitting and killing them here, basically. On top of this, it can be a really good place to play in terms of if the T's go with a rush or like a execute or something like this. What a lot of the good players will do is they will, bounce a flash like this, which will definitely fuck you up. But you always have the ability in this position, if you see the flashes, to move closer to the Xbox. And then, wait for a gap in the flashes and fight. Or, since this first flash is very obvious, you can also dodge the first flash and try to, peek out and kill after the flash. Yes, that is one of the things. This angle, like playing an off angle here or playing this kind of headshot angle, is also very strong. But yeah, again, there isn't a whole lot to say about A. I will show you one thing though. If you hate people playing on boost, it is possible now to, let me get jump throw forward, to go in here and aim here and W jump throw. And this is like a new Molotov lineup that has just been found recently, where people will be able to still stand here at the sort of edge, but it means that if you check it like this, you should be able to see everyone on boost and can kind of clear it without going out, basically. So that can be pretty cool to know. Yeah, talking about the AWP, basically almost every single round you should be doing the smoke mid for your teammate. I want to say every round where you don't have a peek at the beginning of the round, you should be doing one of the mid smokes, simply because as AWP on Ancient, your smoke isn't that valuable. Like, it is because you can rotate over to sides and help with extra smokes and stuff like that, but essentially, if your B player uses their smoke on B, and your cave player uses it on cave and whatever, your mid player will use it on mid, and your A player will use it on A. There are some maps, I want to say, where it's really important for an AWP to come over and use the smoke to help. Inferno, for example. If you have an extra smoke as AWP, it can be good to rotate over and use it on B, for example. But on Ancient, a lot of the time, late round, it will come down to kills more than smokes. And I think just you want your mid player to have their smoke for late, exactly so they can either, re-smoke deep to play aggro, or jiggle here with smoke. This is pretty difficult if you don't have smoke, and you won't have Molo either, for the most part. So I want to say, if you don't have a peek as AWP, definitely, do your smoke. Some AWP peeks that are good is if you want to hold someone getting boosted on box, you can just sit here. It's possible for you to go, over here. It's possible for you to get a boost, like double or triple boost here. I talked about it already, but this boost is actually really good with AWP because you can see half the body and you can kill before they even see you. It can be good to play AWP on pillar like this. It can be good to play AWP more aggressive. This doesn't get that many kills typically, but it can. It can be really good to play AWP donut, exactly for this pressure line concept I talked about earlier. As long as I can hold this information with my AWP, I know they cannot be red room. You know, playing tempo with AWP is good. Playing CT and holding the run out like this is almost always free kills because people typically go before the CT smoke lands. And yeah, those are some of the good things to do with AWP. For things that are good late round, or which I would call just harder, it can be really good to play the AWP here. And some people like to contact out because as AK, if you meet an AWP, like you will maybe jiggle these angles, but you will die. And even if the AWP misses, like say I'm missing my shot, I can always jump back and play behind side, and I'm pretty safe. Some AWPers like to hold this angle as well. Can also sometimes give a sneaky kill. And yeah, sometimes playing AWP on copy can be good. If they break the smoke, you can get a kill. So many things you can do as AWP. What I want to say is like the most important thing to know as AWP is just use your smoke for your teammate in mid. If you want to block mid even heavier, you know, you can do the Molotov and the nade. Or if your rifle player is doing the Molotov, you can just double nade in the Molo. This is absolutely going to destroy the people running out mid. Yeah, just some general things I would definitely want to learn if I was playing Ancient on a pretty good level is, I know there is a way. Is it like this? You can jump throw. No, it isn't. Maybe it's actually jump throw forward. Is it? No. Okay, I don't actually know this. Is it up here? Maybe it is jump throw forward. I'm a little bit confused right now. I guess it is jump throw forward. You get a smoke that lands like this, so if the T wants to push out, he's very exposed. And it can help you with taking control. I know there are some people, I'm not one of them, but there is some lineup for donut smoke. That was... yeah, I think you get the... wait, actually I think it's like this. And then it's probably some part of this leaf, guys. Let me try a few more times here. Maybe it's on the top of this leaf. There is definitely some kind of... That was pretty close though. Maybe crouch a name on the leaf? See, I don't play anymore, so it's okay that I don't know the nades. Yeah. I guess this kind of works. There definitely is a better lineup, guys, but you might have to find it yourself. So we don't waste all of the time at this. But even if you do this smoke, it probably will help you to some extent. Not this one though. Just find your own lineup. I promise you it's worth it. But I know also from where you did the sort of main smoke, there is, I believe, a running lineup that some people have started doing where you run and molo on boost. So you can kind of not like, I don't want to say isolate, but it's like you can disregard basically the entire main / boost. And it can be pretty neat to know. One of the best things, if anyone watched the Orpa CT side thing we went through, these flashes, an absolute must to learn. They look kind of useless, but they are so good for when people rush B. Like, it is such an easy flash to throw. You can always call it for your teammates, like, that you're flashing in the back. You can either flash like far to the left, or you can do flashes through here even. Any flash like this is so delicious for your teammates to peek with. And it's impossible for the T's to dodge it. So imagine having your B player, whatever, jumping info, and now you get contact, and whatever, you molo or you smoke this, and now... Okay, now I can't show it, but imagine that now you get a flash up here, and now you can swing and peek this area. It is so disgustingly good. and absolutely like a must-know flash. And let me see if there's any other must-know utility on Ancient. I guess there isn't, but just to leave you guys with this, is also kind of a new combo, I guess. You can go in this star, or whatever you want to call it, flower. You can crouch, and I think you can aim here and jump throw. And you actually have a solid long smoke. From this same spot, you can you can do smoke, you can aim here, and you can aim here for the molo. And then you have like a full B execute thrown by one person in 2 seconds. That is very valuable to know. One last thing I will leave you with is this angle is stupidly good in Afterplant, because you have a really big off angle for anyone coming out here. Like, they will be aiming down here and not here most of the time. And you will probably catch them off guard. You kind of even have some sort of, well, that's if you're here. I guess if you're here, you don't have that kind of body armor. But even if people clear this, they probably won't clear this. And that's... It doesn't look that good, but just trust me on this, it's super good. The reason it's also super good is because you can actually step up and kill long. So if you hear someone running close long, they will always run on the left. And if they have a teammate following them, you will be peeking from a relatively safe position, killing them here and being able to back in and be safe. So just try this position. I promise you, it is absolutely worth it. Yes.
Say I have like a M4A1S.
Yes.
Will the barrel stick out from that position at all?
I don't think so. I even think if you have an AWP, I don't think it will. It's, I'm kind of not on a practice server, so I can't really so easily add a bot and also give them an... Wait, maybe I mean, I guess... You know what? I'll try it.
My bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Maybe I need to go out of warm-up real quick. Let me see if I can get this to work. I think it won't. Bot add T, it would be bot stop 1, and then oh, this doesn't work anymore. Thank you. I guess if I do give this guy a M4. He didn't equip it. Can I? You're really testing it right now. Oh, amazing. Okay, and now I can do bot place here, I think. Yeah, I don't know if I can do this.
My bad, Doug.
It's okay.
I'm sure I can figure that out at a different time.
Oh, what a coincidence. He's actually looking the right way. Look, I mean, and I think this is, he's not in the actual
Pretty
spot,
minimal.
and he's not crouched, because the further down you are, the more this slope will take as well, right? So I don't think you can see it. Like, even if you have an M4A1S, maybe if you have AWP, they can see it, but yeah, I don't think so. I'm happy actually I was able to give you an answer. Any other questions, guys? I guess not, maybe. And that's fine.
Not on my end.
That's all good.
Yeah. That was a great session.
Fantastic. I'm happy you guys enjoyed it. And, I will just give a couple more minutes to, like 1 or 2 minutes, we can do one more question. If someone comes up with something. I'll show you this crazy smoke I found. It's, I don't know. You can sit here. You can aim here. There's like a line, and then at the top of this, you can walk through, and when you go down into, like, you will kind of walk up something, and when you walk down, you have to jump through. Like now. And I believe this one goes... Let me try again. Maybe it's more here. Like now. And then hopefully, if I didn't fuck it up, this goes over and lands here. I did actually fuck it up because I just remembered that I did make a better lineup actually. This is just intermission while we wait for someone to answer. I think, what was it? I think when I hit this white rock, I think that's how it is. That's when you want to do it. Then you get one that bounces and hopefully... Okay, one last try, guys. And then, if no one has a question, then that's it. So I guess a little bit after the white rock, like that. Then it should bounce only once. Like bounce and go down. Okay. Sorry, guys. I can't end it on a loss. This one has to be it. The difference is not that big, but basically it bounces. Okay, never mind. Either way, the idea of the smoke is just that it lands and it pops so that it's hard for the CTs to... basically, if I throw it right, it will land so that no one can sit here and hold this. And it becomes like a smoke where the CTs don't know where you're kind of going. Yeah, that can be nice, because then if you take mid and you use that smoke, it's difficult for the CTs to block you, because this smoke will land, so they don't know if they should push in front here, or if it's a smoke that kind of cuts the B side in half so that you can go close here and kind of split. I used it in a pistol round. You can maybe also, if you want. Still no questions, guys?
I have one, but it's unrelated.
Yeah, it's fine. Was it the one you wrote me about?
Yeah, that was the one.
All right.
Why do you think electronic is a good fit for VP?
For that, I will change to Inferno real quick. So yeah, just I have to give you some context. Not you, Shafly, because you were the one who asked the question. But basically, I tweeted that I think VP with electronic will be really good because he's one of the smartest space taking rifles. And the best example I have is just I've seen him play on Inferno back in Navi before he became IGL. And he was really an insanely good player at, using a smoke, whatever long, and using a molo to take mid alone, using a flash or whatever. And what he liked to do was just going out into mid and sitting behind these, it used to be pillars, but now I guess it's just kind of gaps in the wall. And even though he was fully kind of open to one side of mid, he would just sit here and chill. And then on the right timings, he would maybe work the space further or whatever. It was basically just as if every single round he was taking mid by himself. And what was, even more interesting, just to give sort of another example on this, was that Navi had a really interesting approach to nuke, which I think most teams kind of ended up stealing. But basically, from the outside, how I see the system was that they would do any wall of smokes, whatever I guess electronic would ask for, and he would be really good at working down secret. He would always have a good feel for, is there an AWP here, is there not, exactly how much he could move forward before he would get blocked. And what Navi then had was, Boomich as the IGL back then, who would then use his util or use the wall of smokes that they had or whatever to either try to take space towards the garage or to try to take space under heaven. And with that, they basically allowed themselves to play a lot of defaults where they fully just played on reactions. Like, they had everything talked through in a way where if Boomich gets whatever garage and electronic is down secret and electronic has a lot of space but Boomich gets killed in garage, whatever, well then maybe they immediately pop ramp, because then electronic can hold the vent rotation and then they can go ramp, and then if the CTs try to rotate down, they can't go through vent, so they have to go through secret and they become super delayed and stuff like this. Or let's say Boomich gets into garage and electronic dies in secret. Well, that means then the outside player or the AWP is playing downstairs, which means, okay, probably there's space under heaven. And I just think that this kind of system doesn't work without having a really smart space-taking rifler, basically. And I think that's what Electronic was always, to me, crazy good at. I think Electronic has really good aim, but I would not consider him, a top 10 aimer or something like this. The majority of why he is so extremely good is partly because he's, great under pressure, but partly because he is so damn smart that he puts himself in really good positions to get kills. So I hope that yeah.
Can I ask a bit more?
Yeah, of course.
How does that fit into VP? Because they play a kind of more default, and they kind of go down the clock, right? And they do a second wave of util to actually take the site a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So it feels like this aggressive space taking is kind of not VP style.
That is true. I think I will answer it real quick just by going on. Inferno is the best example for this, basically. While it's true that VP is a very slow team that loves running down the clock, it is just like I said earlier, basically. If you are predictable, you are easy to counter. And so for VP to have a slow style that works, they have to, if you play against a team that always plays slow, what the CTs do, if they're good, is they say, okay, let's hold our utility. Let's not use our utility, because if they always end the round at 30, 40 seconds left, if we just delay with using our utility, then we can use it when they actually want to take the side. And then, let's say it's 30, 40 seconds left, whatever, and now VP are doing an A execute on Inferno. If you Molotov them off, and whatever, nade them, and have a smoke as well, how will VP ever win this round? The answer is basically they will never win this round, because the CTs have a lot of util. But the only way a slow style can work is if you also have rounds where you balance it. Like, there will be rounds where VP rushes. There will be rounds where VP does take the space aggressively. And it is kind of this cat and mouse game where CTs know VP is playing slow, so CTs decide to not use their utility early. By not using their utility early, they allow for fast rounds from VP. So they have to have some of those to throw in the mix. And when VP has done a couple of fast rounds to destroy the CTs who are waiting with their utility, then they can go back to this very slow style, because now the CTs know if we don't block them early, they will abuse it against us. And if we do block them early, they will play slow. That's why VP is so insanely annoying to play against, because they force you to play their style of Counter-Strike. If you try to do an anti-slow style, they will do some fast round or take space fast, or when they come over to B, they will just do a fast B pop. And then, okay, maybe you have 2 Molotovs, but if you don't have a chance to use them, it won't help you. So that's why someone like Electronic, he's good at doing that balancing. And that's why Mia wasn't that good, because he was quite passive in that system and wasn't taking that space. And then it's easy to play against VP if they always play slow and no one ever takes space. But if you have that one guy who's naturally aggressive with a good read of the game, then he can take the space and therefore balance your slow style by himself.
I see. Thank you for the explanation. It was good.
Yeah, no problem. Guys, I think I will close for questions now, because I have to wake up in 7 hours, as it typically is on Fridays, and also tomorrow I have to drive from the Netherlands to Denmark, which is going to be like 9 hours. So I will need all the sleep I can get. I really appreciate you all for coming to the session, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the the Ancient CT session. If you have any recommendations for future sessions, kind of like what you had, Sharkfly, you had a question, right, that you wanted to talk about, and I knew it was coming, so I had some time to think as well. But you can always just write me in DM, or you can give a suggestion wherever, basically. Thank you so much for watching, guys.
Thank you, Nato.
Thank you.